All right, welcome back. We are going to be looking at finance today. We'll be looking at compound interest. Okay, so in the past, I believe you probably have seen simple interest. Okay, simple interest, and this interest really doesn't really exist in real life. When you go to bank or investment opportunities, nobody talks about simple interest. Okay, maybe when you borrow money from your parents or from your relatives, your friends, you might be able to get away with simple interest. But usually, whether you're talking about investing or borrowing money, it's all about compound interest. Okay, you don't talk about simple interest at all. Okay, now what's the difference? Okay, simple interest, remember, it was you take the principal times the interest rate times the time, right? This is the interest, simple interest, I equal PRT. So for example, you are borrowing money for a year, you borrow $1,000, interest rate is 10%, and since it's 1 year, so the interest that you're paying would be $100 per year, right? So that is the simple interest. Now for year two, you are still paying $100, okay, because that's the interest based on your principal. Okay, so whether the time is 1 year or 2 years, for example, the principal, if it was 1,000 times the interest rate of 10% times 2 years, okay, so that means this is $200. Okay, so you're paying $100 of interest every single year. Okay, so that's simple interest. The amount that you are paying as the interest remains the same every single year. That's simple interest. Compound interest, however, is a little bit different. Okay, it says compound interest is the interest calculated based on the principal plus interest earned in prior compounding periods. For example, if your interest, okay, so same scenario, if we have the principal of $1,000 and the interest rate, again, it's 10%, so 0.1. And now we have 2 years. Okay, so instead of doing this way, what happened is let's talk about yearly interest. Okay, annual, compounded annually. Okay, it says based on a compounding period as well. So we're talking about compounded annually for now. Okay, so in that case, it's actually, so at the end of year one, you get $100, right? You get $100 from the bank or from whoever. Assuming you're investing. So at the end of year one, you actually have $1,100. And for year two, you are not only earning interest on top of your principal, you're also earning the interest with the $100 as well. Okay, so you are actually multiplying this by another 0.1 to get your interest, and now your interest is actually $110. So by the end of 2 years, your total amount is going to be $1,100 plus 110, which is $1,210. Notice if you earn simple interest, this is going to be $1,200. So by compounding interest, you actually earn $10 extra in 2 years, assuming that's the question. Okay, so you might think, okay, well, $10, what's the big deal in 2 years, right? It does make a huge difference if your principal is big. It does make a huge difference. Also, it makes a huge difference as the time gets longer. Okay, it does make a huge, let me say again, huge difference. Okay, it does matter. Okay, so that's what compound interest is. You actually earn interest on your interest that you earned in the previous years. Okay, compounding period, it's the time between calculations of interest. So the example I just showed you is annually. Usually it's not annually, there's monthly, there's also semi-annually, there's also quarterly, there's also weekly, bi-weekly, daily. Okay, so they are all compounding periods. We'll be looking at some of them later on. Okay, now you don't want to do this every single time, especially when the time is like 5 years, because then it is quite a bit of steps. Okay, it's quite tedious. So there's a formula, okay, for calculating compound interest. So here is the formula. A, that's the amount at the end. Okay, that's the amount at the end, not the interest. That's the final amount, your total amount. Okay, amount at the end is equal to the principal, okay, P, times 1, okay, the reason why you have a 1 is that is your principal, okay, plus, so that's the original amount, plus the interest, I, divided by the n compounding period to the power of n times t. Okay, you can see this is exponential, and that's why it grows faster than linear functions. Okay, it actually grows a lot faster than linear functions. Topic of the moment right now, right, current events, COVID-19, okay? The spread is grow exponentially. That's why it spreads so fast, okay? That's exponential growth. It grows very fast because one person you can transmit to 2, you know, and let's say each person transmit the disease to another 2, right? That's going from 1 to 2 to 4 and then to 8 and then 16, 32, it actually grows very, very fast. Okay, so this is what we call exponential growth. Anyways, so let me just, so again, this compound interest business is exponential growth as well. That's why it actually makes a big difference compared to simple interest. Let me just quickly, you know, write down what each variable stands for. A is the final amount. P is the principal. I is the interest rate. That's the rate. Okay, this is the annual interest rate. N is the compounding period. I'll show you how it works in a second. And T is simply the time. Okay, time in years. Okay, so again, I'll show you how this equation works in this example right here. It says calculate interest, basically the same question to show you, right? Calculate the interest you earn on $1,000 deposited in an account that pays 4% interest per annum. Per annum means it's 4% interest rate per year, okay, per annum. Compounded annually if you left it for 2 years. Okay, so what are you gonna do? Again, this is only one way of investing. Okay, there's another way, which is it's called like every bank calls it differently. PPP, pre-authorized payment, pre-authorized deposit. Okay, there's also this as well. These two is okay. You know what? Let me finish this example and I'll explain to you what that is. Okay. So, anyways, so we are looking for the final amount. Actually, we're looking for the interest. But what we're going to do is we're going to find the final amount first and minus the $1,000 to get the interest that we earn, right? So the final amount would be equal to the principal times 1 plus the interest rate per year is 4%, so 0.04, divided by n, the compounding period. It says it's compounded annually, therefore we earn interest once per year. Therefore, n is 1. Okay, again, n is basically how many compound period there is in a year. Since it's compound annually, so it's 1, because once a year, times n times t, so n again is 1, times t, 2 years, so 2. And that's it. If you put this into calculator, I don't have a calculator with me, let me go grab it, I'll be back. Okay, so if you put it into calculator, I believe you get $1,081.60. Okay. Okay, so again, the final amount is $1,081.60. Okay, so that's final amount, but we're looking for the interest. So to find the interest, you simply take the amount you get at the end minus the initial amount that you invested, which is $81.60, and that is your interest. Okay, so let me just quickly go over this PAP and PAD business here. The difference between investing, this is once and you left it there. PAP and PAD is more like you set aside $100 every month and you contribute like a certain amount each month. For example, again, instead of putting $1,000 all at once, you could put $100 into the account each month. Okay, and then you don't just stop at 1,000, you just keep contributing $100 every single month, 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay, every single month. This usually is how people invest nowadays. Okay, you contribute certain amount. Doesn't have to be large amount, but small amount each month, each week, whatever the frequency. Okay, so that's usually how people invest these days. Not well. I know some people do this as well. They put it into GIC, or that's guaranteed investment certificate, or just buy stocks, right? So you just spend $1,000, put it into a certain stock. That's also one way of investing. Anyways, you'll learn different ways. I think you'll talk more about this in Pre-Calc 12. Okay, anyways, we are going to look at the next example here. So now we're going to look at some different compounding period here. It says calculate the final value of a deposit of $1,000 invested at a rate of 2.8% per annum for 4 years with the following compounding periods. So I'll show you how it works with semi-annually, and then I'll let you try the quarterly, monthly, and weekly, okay? So the same thing, the final amount is equal to the principal times 1 plus the interest rate, 2.8%, so 0.028, divided by, because this compound period is semi-annually, which means we collect interest twice a year, so n is 2, to the power of 2 times t, 4 years. So this basically tells you how many times you're collecting interest in total, right? Because we're collecting twice a year and we're doing for 4 years, so in total we are collecting 8 times. So this exponent means how many times you're collecting the principal or the interest in total. Okay, so now you put this into a calculator. So don't forget math. You need to do 0.028 divided by 2 first. You know what? I'll show you all the steps in this case. This is 1 plus 0.014 to the power of 8. Okay, and this is 1,000 times 1.014 to the power of 8. Okay, raised to the power first. 1.014 to the power of 8. You should get 1.1176 times 1,000. Okay, so this you get at the end of 4 years, you should get $1,117.64. Okay, for money, always round to 2 decimal places to the nearest cent. Okay, I'll let you try B, C, and D and see if you get what I will get in a second. Okay, hopefully this is what you got. You should get $1,118.08, $1,118.37, $1,118.48 for each of these compounding periods. Notice the more frequently you collect your interest, the final amount will be, the greater the final amount will be, right? You can see this is most frequent, weekly, right? You count the interest weekly, and you can see the final amount is the largest among these 4 examples here. So the more the better, okay, of course. So that's one of the deciding factors when you pick your investment, right? The more frequent that they count your interest, the better it is. Obviously, the interest rate also plays into a big role when you decide what to invest. I think this section is helpful because I think you are probably starting to think about post-secondary school or your plans after high school. You might want to go to travel. Obviously, right now you probably can't. Or you can't go, anywhere else really, because of the COVID-19. But at least you're starting to think, or maybe you're trying to buy a car or something, right? So you might be thinking about investing, put into some sort of a savings account. So when you pick, you can calculate using the formula here and see what's the best, right? All right, last example, and then we're done. It says, how much does Steve need to invest now at an annual interest rate of 3% compounded bi-weekly? Okay, compounded bi-weekly, so once every 2 weeks. Okay, once every 2 weeks, so that he could buy a car that is worth $20,000 in 3 years. Okay, so what Steve wants is $20,000 in 3 years. And what he wants to figure out is how much does he need to invest right now. So he needs to figure out what his principal should be right now to get to $20,000 if he can generate 3% compounded annual interest rate compounded bi-weekly. Okay, so 1 plus the interest rate again is 3%, so 0.03. Compounded bi-weekly. Bi-weekly means once every 2 weeks. Recall there are 52 weeks in a year, so bi-weekly means you can actually collect interest 26 times. Okay, again, 52 weeks in a year, you collect interest once every 2 weeks, so if you divide them, you get 26. To the power of 26 times number of years, that's 3. Okay, so I probably should talk about this. Quarterly means every 3 months, right? Therefore, you collect 4 times in a year. Monthly, okay, I think that one's clear, 12 times a year. Weekly, again, 52 weeks in a year. So now we can solve this. That's $20,000 is equal to P times, you need to put this into calculator, 0.03 divided by 26, and then plus 1. You should get 1.00115386 to the power of 78. I suggest you not to round anything at all, okay? So just take your answer from your calculator, use the enter button, and then raise to the power of 78. You should get 1.094. Again, don't round this. Once you get to here, you want to go $20,000 divided by your enter button on your calculator. Okay, so 1.094-ish. You should get your principal. So you go 20,000 divided by enter. Your principal right now, or for Steve, right now to invest is $18,000, $18,279.57. Okay, so that's how much he needs to invest right now in order to generate or to get $20,000 in 3 years. That's not that bad, actually. You make what, almost $1,800 in 3 years? That's not bad. I mean, if you just put this amount into the bank and just leave it there, you get $1,800 in 3 years. I'll take that, right? I mean, but right now, what that means is you actually need to have, $1,800 free right now to invest. All right, finance is actually quite an interesting topic. If we have time, we'll do more. We can talk more about this because, I'm actually quite interested in this area as well. Yeah, so let me know if you need help. Obviously, okay, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Let me know if you need help. Good luck.